Hey, it's Tim from Income TV, and welcome back to another awesome session where we're going to talk about 5 practical money saving hacks. Now remember, if you want to make sure that you're up to date with all of our videos, make sure you click the subscribe button below, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified immediately when our next videos go live. Saving money is a big problem for most people simply because we love spending every dollar we earn. Let's take a look today at 5 tips that will allow you to save tons of money every month. Let me introduce you to 3 of my friends, Mike, Nick, and Justin. Mike is 25 and loves spending money. He's like most of us. He doesn't save his money because he has a stable job with a salary of $36,000 after taxes that covers all of his expenses, mortgage, car, and the new iPhone he recently bought. As time goes by, Mike gets married and he becomes a father. Now, instead of covering only his expenses, he has to cover his child's and probably his wife's expense as well. But his salary has only increased by 15% in the last 5 years. Now he has to cut down his spendings to be able to pay for all the necessary things. As his life moves on, his salary keeps increasing, but not as much as his expense. Might sound familiar. After many years, Mike decides to retire, but he finds that he hasn't saved any money for that. He's left with no other choice but to keep working. On the other side, Nick doesn't want to find himself in the same position as Mike when he reaches his 60s. He decides to save 10% of his income, hoping that by the time he's 65, he can stop working and enjoy his life. After 40 years, assuming that his income increases by an average of 3% a year, he manages to save $250,000. Obviously, that's not enough money to travel the world and cover your expenses for the next 20 years or so, but at least that's way better than Mike. Now, our third friend, Justin, who is also 25, and makes relatively similar income, realizes that saving 10% of his income is not going to make him financially free anytime soon. If he wants to see any significant difference, he would have to wait until he is 65. He decides to take a slightly different approach. Instead of saving only 10% of his income, he decides to save 25%. But instead of simply just saving it, he decides to invest it into an investment fund. Like his 2 other friends, his income increased by an average of 3%. Assuming that he keeps only investing $9,000 out of his salary, even though that his income is increasing every year, in just under 10 years, his savings grows up to more than $150,000. He can either withdraw that money to start his own business, maybe retire earlier, or he can simply keep an investment fund, and without saving a single penny for the rest of his life, that initial savings of $150,000 will end up being $4.2 million by the time he retires. Compared to Mike and Nick, Justin will have either retired earlier or have an amazing retirement. What sets Justin aside from the other 2 is that he knew if he made some sacrifices for the next 10 years of his life now, he'd be able to live the rest of his life exactly how he wants. The first idea is that you should know exactly why you want to save money in the first place. A lot of people give up and stop saving because they don't see exactly why are they saving in the first place. And your goal shouldn't be to save for a great wedding or a brand new car, because once you get that car, you'll go back to your previous position and still face those financial challenges again. The ultimate goal should be able to achieve the financial freedom. Tip number 2, pay yourself first. Before even spending a single penny out of your income, put aside a percentage of it into your savings account. If you don't have one, then go ahead and get one. You're not allowed to spend this money under any circumstances, no matter what you're going through. This money cannot be spent anywhere, but only can be invested. Consider it to be part of your taxes, something that you have to pay whether you like it or not. Next, know your expenses. If you're not a consistent saver, then it might be really difficult to start, especially in the first couple of months when you realize that your savings aren't growing as fast as you would want them to. Instead, know your expenses first. Spend the next 30 days writing down every transaction you make so that by the end of the month, you will have a detailed understanding of how exactly you spend your money. You can deduct your expenses in those areas that don't have a big effect on your life. For instance, instead of buying coffee every morning, you can make that yourself and save somewhere around $50 to $70 every single month. Instead of driving, maybe you use the public transport to get to your job if it's more affordable. You might save another $50 to $60 there. This way, you might save a couple $100 every single month. Tip number 4 is procrastinate. Procrastination is bad, but not in this case. Usually we get excited when we want to buy something new right away, even if it's something that we don't really need. But over time, the truth is that excitement goes away. It's like when you buy a new phone. In the first couple days, you might still be excited about it, but you know what happens? It just becomes normal. Why not get into the habit of waiting to buy things, especially expensive ones? You'll still end up buying all the important things you need, but there will be plenty of times when you change your mind and hold on to your cash. Another hack that is a bit counterintuitive is to use cash. So whenever you want to buy something, try to always use cash instead of a debit card. Whether you're ordering food in a restaurant or getting something from the grocery store, handing over a $20 bill is a lot harder than just swiping your card, simply because when you swipe your card, it feels like you're spending less. Over time, you'll become a more conscious spender, and you'll buy more of what you need and less of what you want. So these are the 5 tips today that will help you start saving money. And I really hope that you've enjoyed this video and learned something helpful. If you found this video helpful, please be sure to leave a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Also, be sure to click the circular image in the upper right-hand corner of the screen and tick the bell icon to get notified whenever we release more new videos to help you increase your income. Go ahead and check out some additional money-making videos right now on the left side of the screen. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.